Hi, welcome to Yoga with Ashlyn. I'm Ashlyn, and today we're going to work on opening up our hip flexors. So you'll probably want to have a block and a blanket if you have one available, just to help with some of our poses later on. We're going to get started on our backs. So lie down, and we'll come into something called constructive rest pose. So bend your knees, take your feet a little bit wider than your outer hips. Let your knees just rest together at the center of your mat. And then just rest your arms down beside you. Close your eyes just for a moment here. And if the knees don't touch, that's fine. They can just move in that direction. And right away, start to connect with your breath. And just check in and notice how you're doing today. Notice how you're breathing. And how's your mind? How are your energy levels? Notice, can you use awareness of your breath to begin to anchor yourself in this moment? So whatever you had going on before this class, whatever you have planned for later today, really let that go. Give yourself the next 30 minutes or so to be fully present in your body, on the mat. Nothing else matters. Now let's shift into Ujjayi breath, in and out through your nose. Narrowing the vocal cords, making that smooth, long whisper sound with the breath. And then blinking your eyes open, or if you want, you could even keep them closed. So I want you to keep your legs exactly as they are, and just, this is the beauty of home yoga, right? Cop a feel. So take your hands to your inner thighs, and I just want you to feel here. So I'm guessing if you're anything like how I am right now, your inner thighs are very relaxed and soft, right? So just kind of feel into that. So notice we've got a neutral lower back, most likely a little curve in the low back, and the inner groins are soft. Now heel toe your feet in a bit closer, widen the knees, and then come into happy baby. Good. You can grab your hamstrings, your ankles, or your feet. Flexed feet are stacked over the knees. And then just let go of one of your feet and feel the opposite inner thigh. And I'm going to guess that you're probably now not so soft in the inner groins, right? You can check on the other side. I'm sure that's happening there as well. And so this is just something we're going to keep coming back to, this feeling of keeping the inner thighs soft in a lot of our poses so we can more effectively access releasing the hip flexors. Now let go of your legs, hook your right ankle over your left thigh in a 4, and then either leave your left foot on the ground or lift your left leg up and clasp around the back of your thigh. If it works for your body today, you can take the right elbow and press the right thigh kind of away from your chest, just if that happens to work for you today. And just a couple of easy breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, push your thigh bone into your hands. One more breath. Good. And just switch. Lower your right foot, hook your left ankle in that 4. Flex your foot, stay here, or lift your right leg up and clasp around the back of your thigh. Again, if it feels good and if it works for you today, maybe you take your left elbow and work your left thigh away from your face. Notice if you're doing this at the expense of flattening your lumbar curve, that's that little round, that little arch in your lower back. Try to maintain the natural curves in your spine. It's a way of more deeply accessing the hips. Now let go of your legs, unhook your ankle, and then let's roll to a side. Take a breath. And then we'll push ourselves all the way up to seated and right onto all 4s. So coming onto your hands and knees, line up your index fingers so that they're parallel. Push the floor away from you, spread the fingers, press into your top feet, and inhale, back bend. Belly down, chest lifts forwards and up. And exhale, round your spine. Tuck the tail, let your head drop. And again, inhale to your back bend and notice the movement of the thighs. So here you might feel the inner thighs are softening back. And now as you exhale, it's like that happy baby we did at the beginning. Feel the inner groins harden and push forwards as you tuck the tail. And so again, we inhale, slide the chest forwards and up, inner thighs soften back. And exhale, dome your spine, tuck the tail, feel the groins harden. Let's do one more. Inhale. And exhale, breathe into your lower back especially. Now next inhale, come back to a neutral spine and either walk your knees back or step your feet back. And we'll come into plank pose here. So you're pushing the floor away from you. You're shooting your top sternum forwards. And here you're feeling the inner thighs roll up and back. But against that, try to slide your tailbone towards your heels. So notice how we do both to stabilize in the hips. Take a steady breath in. Exhale, maybe lower your knees. Come all the way down onto your stomach. Now point your toes and try to lengthen your legs farther back as you press into the toenails. Almost no pressure with the hands. Shoulder heads back. Inhale, lift your chest. Can you take the tailbone out of the lower back? Exhale, roll it down. Lengthen forwards to come down. And then again, we inhale, lift the head and chest up. Lengthen the lower back. Exhale, roll it down. Could you push more into your pinky toenails than your big toes? One more time, inhale, maybe a little taller. Traction your hands back to send the chest forwards. And exhale, roll it down. Curl toes under. Full breath in. Exhale, option to use the knees. Push yourself up into plank. Lift your hips up and back. Come into downward facing dog. Take a few moments. Feel free to bike the legs out if it feels good. Maybe shake your head no and yes. Any little movements that feel good as you work your way into this first down dog. Feel the finger bones spreading nice and wide. Feel the thumbs almost trying to drag together, like you're trying to make a little wrinkle between your hands. And then against that, roll your biceps, your outer upper arms, out and away from each other. Feel the inner thighs gently releasing back, but then just ask yourself, what do you need? Are you losing the dog tilt? Do you need more inner thighs back? Or do you feel a little back bend in your lower back? Maybe you need to knit your rib cage in and back against that. Next inhale, look forwards at your hands. Exhale, walk your feet all the way up to meet your hands. Take your feet hips width in parallel. And inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, generous bend in the knees, fold down over your legs. Let your head just drop for a moment here. Again, inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, refold. This time, inhale halfway. Exhale, hands to hips, shoulders on your back. Feel the top thighs move back and then rise all the way up and lower your arms down beside you. Take an inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forwards. Inhale halfway. Step your right foot back. Put your right knee down. So option to keep the toes curled under or point the foot. Bring both hands up to your left thigh. And you're welcome to have a block handy for the pose coming up next. Now, right away here, I want you to, let's just do this for a second. Let your hips sink forwards and just let that feel kind of nice. You might get a little release more on the inner thigh. But now what I want you to do is try to bring your pelvis upright. So roll your right inner thigh back. So there's that soft groin. Soften the right inner groin back. Imagine you could zipper the top of your pelvis up to your navel. See if you can find that. Now keep that. Now reach your arms forwards and then up. Now, if you can keep the pelvis upright, then you let the hips sink a little bit. But ask yourself, am I rolling my right inner thigh out? Could you do the opposite? Roll your outer hip forwards. Lift your back ribs high. You can stay here or grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand, pull your right wrist up, and tip your torso to the left. If you prefer, take the side bend with your left hand on your thigh or your left hand on a block. As you inhale, you reach through your fingertips, you soften your front ribs in, and then you exhale, tip your torso to the left as you roll your right inner thigh back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach through your arm, and exhale, lean to the side. Next inhale, come back up through center, and bring both hands down to the floor. Curl your right toes under, step back into plank. Inhale, shift forwards. Exhale to lower, part way or all the way. Inhale, open your chest, cobra or upward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Next inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back, three-legged down dog. Exhale, look forwards, bend your right knee, step or help your right foot through. Left knee comes down, maybe untuck the toes, and take your hands up to your right thigh. Take just a breath or so, just let your hips sink. This is what we often do. Feel how the lower back hugs in, and you accentuate the lumbar curve when you do this. So now try to push into your hands, lift your pelvis upright. Left inner thigh rolls back and in, and then top of the pelvis zippers to your navel. Now reach your arms forwards and up, keeping the pelvis upright. Now maybe we let the hips sink a little bit, but still rolling left inner thigh back. Feel free to keep your arms apart. You can grab your left wrist. You can bring right hand, right thigh or to a block. As you inhale, you reach your left fingertips higher. And then softening your front ribs back any amount, tip your torso to the right, keeping your chest really parallel to the wall across from you. So you inhale, reach, and you exhale, lean. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way back up. Lower your hands to the floor. Curl your left toes under, look forwards, and step your left foot forwards. Take an inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Palms touch, look up. And hands to prayer. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, offer your chest. This time, step your left foot back first. Stay on the ball of your foot. Set up your feet in 2 lanes of traffic. And with your next inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Come into Crescent Lunge. Feel free to start with a soft bend in the left knee. Now we're finding the same work. We're rolling the left inner thigh back and even up here, hugging the right outer hip in, and then lifting the top of your pelvis, zippering it to the bottom of your navel. Maybe then we let the left leg straighten and we sink the hips a little more. And then ask yourself, are my ribs jutting forwards? Do I need to lift my back ribs higher? Now try to keep your arms up. You'll probably want to shorten up your stance. Step into warrior one. So spin your left heel in and down. Keep rolling your left outer thigh forwards, hugging your right outer hip in. Is your pelvis still upright? Keep reaching up through your arms. Now take your right hand, reach it behind you, and take your right hand to the back of your left thigh. And then you inhale, lift your chest. It's a subtle twist to the right. Spin your left ribs to the right. Maybe start to lift your chest higher. But could you do that without compressing your lower back? So drop your tailbone. One more breath. Now bring your hands to your heart. Start to lean forwards over your right thigh. Maybe take a step or 2 in. Launch forwards and up into warrior 3. Just a couple of breaths. So you're hugging the right outer hip in, and your left big toe is tracing your midline. Shoot the chest forwards. Full breath in. Exhale lightly as you can. Step your left foot back, lower your hands, and step to plank. Take an inhale, shift forwards, and an exhale to lower. Through your back bend, up dog or cobra, and all the way back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths. Now with your next inhale, lift your left leg straight up and back, 3-legged down dog. Keep it square. Bend your left knee. Exhale, step or help your left foot all the way through. Now on the ball of your right foot, inhale, stand up into your crescent lunge. Feel free to start with a soft bend in the right knee. Roll your right inner thigh back, zipper your pelvis, top of the pelvis to your navel. Maybe work the right leg straighter. Maybe let your hips drop a little bit and then just ask yourself, Do you need to knit your rib cage in and back? So did this turn into a really big back bend as the arms went up? Now, option to shorten the stance a bit. Spin your right heel in and down. Bend your left knee deeply, warrior one. Drop your tailbone and roll your right outer hip forwards. Reach up through your fingertips. Lift up through your chest. Take your left hand, reach it back and down. Left hand to right thigh. Now inhale, lift your chest higher, drop your tailbone. Curl your chest open any amount, maybe lean back just a little bit. Lift the back ribs, one more breath. Next, inhale, both arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Lean forwards. Maybe take a step in. Launch forwards and up into warrior three. Hug your left outer hip in. Lift your right inner thigh higher than your outer thigh for three. For two. This time we're going to step back. Right foot steps all the way back. Hands come down. Step to plank. Inhale, shift forwards. This time, exhale, lower all the way onto your stomach. And we'll come up into Sphinx Pose. And some of you may wish to grab a blanket to pad underneath your knee. So I want you to grab your biceps, elbows or shoulders width, and then take your forearms parallel with your palms down. You can always do this with your elbows slightly ahead of the shoulders as well. Slide your chest forwards and up through the gateway of your arms. Bend your right knee. Bring your right inner knee in line with your hip. Inner ankle is on the floor in line with your knee. Press down into the top of your left foot. Lift your lower belly away from the floor. And then keep reaching your chest forwards and up through the window of your arms. Now, if and only if you feel no discomfort in the low back and you want more sensation, your option to carefully lift your elbows up, but you're knitting your rib cage in and back and softening the left inner groins. Shoulder heads back. And then carefully lower your elbows if they're lifted and stretch your right leg back. And second side, bend your left knee. Bring your left inner knee in line with your hip, inner ankle in line with your knee. Slide your chest forwards and up through the gateway of your arms. And keep your collarbones really broad. Again, no discomfort in the lumbar spine. If you feel pinching, then you definitely commit to lifting your lower belly and then pressing as evenly as you can through your two pubic bones. That's not as easy as it might sound. If and only if you want more and you're fine in the lower back, maybe pick the elbows up for 3, 2, and then we lower the elbows if they're lifted. Stretch the left leg back. Lower your forehead and interlace your hands or hook your thumbs on your low back. Feet and legs together, big toes touch. Inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, roll your shoulder heads back. Try to straighten your arms. Pull your knuckles up and back. Now lift your straight legs up. Spread the toes. Roll inner thighs higher than outer thighs. 3. If you're reaching the head back, look down at your cheeks for 2. And exhale all the way down. Switch the interlacing of your hands. Let's get right to it. Big toes touch. Lift your head and chest. Shoulder heads back. Straighten your arms. Lift your straight legs up. Roll your inner thighs higher than your outer thighs. Curl your chest up. One more breath. Maybe look down at the cheeks. And then release. Exhale. Place your hands next to your chest. Curl your toes under. Steady breath in. Exhale, push yourself into plank. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Next inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back. 3-legged down dog. Exhale, shift forwards, right knee, behind the right wrist, right ankle behind left wrist. Come into pigeon. So lay your outer right shin down. And for our purposes today, you'll probably want to make sure that your shin is not parallel to the front of the mat, even if you're quite open in this direction. Now this would be a perfect moment to grab your blanket or your black or both and put that, my blanket matches my pants, underneath your outer right hip. I guess I like this color. And then I actually want you to start here. Keep your left toes curled under, but your left knee on the ground. And you fold the blanket up as much as you need to. We're all different, so that you're not tipping to one side, right? We want to make sure we feel as even as possible from left to right in the hips. So you're on the left knee. You're lifting your chest away from the floor. If this feels really intense, you can actually also do this on your elbows for a much smaller back bend. Now, if you want more, you come onto the fingertips. You are vigorously pushing into your outer right shin and foot, and you're rolling your chest open and curling your chest up. And then notice here, right? Same work. Roll your left inner thigh back. Feel the left inner groins soften up towards the ceiling. How much do you need to lift the back ribs up, right? So we're not trying to find a huge back bend. This might be more than enough. You could stay right here. If you want to add more sensation, with the left toes curled under, you try to lift the left knee up. And you're still curling your chest up, and you're still knitting your rib cage in and back. You're finding all the same work that we've established so far in this practice. It's a subtle twist here as well, right? So feel the left rib slightly spin to the right. Stay here, or if you want to go for it for the last few breaths, keep straightening the left leg. Maybe bring your hands to your heart. And you might find your hip lifting off the blanket. That's fine. 3. Roll your chest open. Maybe breathe into the thumbs. 2. And that's enough. Put your hands down. Take a breath. Curl your left toes under behind you. Swoop your right leg through and up. 3-legged down dog. Give it a little shake. Good. Lower your right foot next to the left. Inhale your left leg up and back. 3-legged down dog. Exhale, shift forwards. Take your left knee behind your left wrist, left ankle behind right wrist. Lay your outer shin down. Grab your blanket or your block or any prop that you may have if you think that would be helpful. For most of us, it probably would be. And then you're pressing into your outer left shin. Your ankle is definitely lower than the knee, and we'll start with the right toes curled. Now you're gonna either be on your hands, or again, you can do this on your elbows if you prefer. Curl your chest open. On the fingertips if you want even more. You're rolling your right inner thigh back and in, so it's really spinning up to the ceiling. And you're pressing into your left outer shin. Lift your back ribs high. Stay here, or straighten your right leg with the toes curled. And then again, recommit to rolling your inner thigh back and up, right? So the outer thigh is rolling down. Lift the front of your pelvis towards your navel. Stay here for the last few breaths. Maybe you take hands to prayer, thumbs to chest. Roll right inner thigh up. Maybe lift your chest up into your thumbs for 3. Do you need to spin your right ribs to the left for 2? And that's enough. Lower the knee, lower your hands. Curl your right toes under. Lift your left leg through and up to 3-legged down dog. Shake it out. And then you lower your left foot next to the right. If you'd like one last vinyasa, go for it. Shifting forwards, exhale, lower. Sometimes a symmetrical back bend feels great after that. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths in plank. Shift forwards into plank. Push the floor away from you. Shoot your sternum forwards. Feel the front body lifting to support the back body. Just finding our middle again after holding that back bend. One more breath. Lift up and back, downward facing dog. Either lower your knees, swing your feet to one side and sit, or join me, widen your hands to mats width, feet together, bend your knees, and then maybe jump through and sit. And we'll come right onto the back. So feet down, stretch your arms forwards. Last little core work, round your spine. Come all the way down. Good. Now take your feet over to the edges of your mat. Walk your right foot to the right off the mat. Swing your knees to the left. Arms are basically anywhere you'd like. I like to take them wide. Feel free to stay right here. Try to work the right knee away from your face. If you want a little more, hook your flexed left foot to your right outer thigh. And do keep lengthening tailbone towards the back of the right knee, especially if you feel anything in the lower back. So one more little opener for the hip flexors. Often when we have chronic lower back discomfort, and especially if you sit a lot or you run or hike or bike a lot, really anything where you have the leg coming towards the chest over and over again or for long periods, it tightens up this area. And it actually can cause lower back discomfort because of how the muscles attach. Unhook your ankle if it's there, lift the knees up, walk your left foot a little bit off the mat to the left, a lot if you're tall, and then swing your knees to the right. Stay here, working the left knee away, or hook your right ankle over your thigh. Soften your breath. Should be no sensation in the knee. Now unhook if you're hooked. Lift the knees up. And we'll close today with an outer hip stretch. So you're either going to cross your right shin in front of your left like you would sitting cross-legged, and you try to grab your feet or your knees, or you can join me and take recline cow face pose, crossing right thigh all the way over the left, flexing your feet and grabbing your feet or anywhere along the shins. And then you can either pull your feet towards your outer hips, or, and you want to be extra careful with the knees here, you can lift your shins up so they're in a straight line and try to pull your feet more towards your shoulders. Soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. When we're really working to stabilize the pelvis so we can release the psoas system, it does require using the outer hips quite a bit to stabilize. That's really what those muscles are for. So after practice like today is just a nice idea to release here before we rest. Switch sides to the second side of whatever you just did. Left shin in front or left thigh over. Especially if you are holding the feet, you want to keep them nice and flexed. So we keep the stretch in the hips, not in the knees or the ankles. Feel the natural curve of your lower back. And then release. Now, I would recommend after today's practice, give yourself at least 3-4 minutes in Shavasana, resting or in a seated meditation. If you have more time, by all means, take as much time as you can. I will sign off here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.